Hey. Hi, so welcome. Today we're just having a little chat and we thought we'd invite you into the chat. I'm Sarita, owner of My Body Analysis, a body composition scanning company. And I've got Sarah in the house today talking about the nutrition side and the reasons why body fat is not just aesthetics, it's actually the chemical pathways in your body that are affected if there's too much of it. So Sarah, can you tell us more about the things that happen when you're overweight, or when you're holding on to too much body fat and visceral fat? What happens in your body?
Yeah, so basically our fat cells, they work as their own little endocrine system. So they're basically an organ in and of themselves. So a lot of the time, like you said, people feel like fat is more about the way you look, and if you feel comfortable with yourself, then that's fine. And they don't actually attribute your body fat percentage to all of these health issues. So one thing that often happens is that these inflammatory markers, so these that create inflammation and create problems, are actually really high in people that have an excess percentage of body fat. So this does vary for everyone, but generally over about 30% is considered, in that obese category or in that excessive category for women and men. And so when you have that elevation of those inflammatory markers, it can lead to mental health problems, cardiovascular problems, lots of liver issues, especially when it comes to the visceral fat. Yeah. So the visceral fat is that around your organs, as you would know, and fatty liver is a massive problem for people.
Yeah, and that's not just in alcoholics and things like that, is
that's
it?
Right.
That's in people that consume lots of trans fats and toxic
and just
chemicals
calories
in their produce and in the excess calories.
Yeah.
Quite often people don't attribute that visceral fat is even a factor because they can't see it. Like if you don't know, there's adipose tissue, which we talk about. There's two sort of types: stuff that sits around your belly on the outside, just underneath your skin. So that kind of fat, seemingly harmless until it's over the normal ranges. But when we're talking about visceral fat, it's this jelly-like fat that sits around all your organs, so your heart, lungs, liver, and everything. So tell us more about what visceral fat does, because that's the kind of dangerous type of fat. People just don't know what the difference is. So can you sort of tell us about that?
Yeah, so I actually read an interesting study recently, and it was about those pro-inflammatory markers. So these types of immune cells and messengers that are sent from that visceral fat. So it's a very, very big difference. And that was linked to cardiovascular disease and all of these disease states, autoimmune conditions as well, that are a lot obviously more threatening than, like you said, that subcutaneous fat, so the fat that sits under our skin that we can see. So often that's the fat that people are more concerned about. But but when you've got those markers being sent out all the time and increase the inflammation, then that's when the disease can actually be created.
And it's not just that traditional heart disease and liver diseases and things like that. It's more now, isn't it? So they're linking it to cancer, type 2 diabetes, dementia. There's about 10 or so different diseases that visceral fat is contributing towards. And my big question is also, what is it doing to our brain as an organ? Is there anything that you know about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess what I focused on mostly is in relation to that inflammation again. So an inflamed organ is going to be one that isn't functioning properly.
Yeah.
And so depression and anxiety, they know that inflammation is one of the number one things that is correlated with that. Right. And we have such an epidemic of mental health now.
Massive.
That people that don't put the two and two together. They don't see that your fat tissue, that inflammation can be creating these disease states.
Yeah. Because of the chemical reactions that are happening, because of what the fat is releasing into your hormonal picture in your body, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
And then it comes back to the diet, obviously, the deficiencies. Because there are all those different types of fat, and so if the way that you're eating is promoting that body fat gain, then often it's actually a malnourished diet. If that makes sense. Like it's high in calories, but it's low in those crucial nutrients that we need. And that's when disease comes to.
Because there's that saying that we're overfed but undernourished.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it? So amazing stuff. So what do we do about it? Like this is a hard and heavy picture. Hard. Do you see what I did there? Hard and heavy. So this is like quite the heavy topic, and it's hard not to feel helpless because our rates of obesity in this country, overweight. Did you know? Overweight and obesity figures for this country are now at 67%. When I started 20 years ago in fitness, I was in New Zealand, but we had similar figures. So we were about 52% overweight or obese in New Zealand. But now we're up at 67%. So what are we even learning? So kind of, I'm speaking to people that are already in gyms on a mostly daily basis. So we're already converted to the exercise helps thing. But what about the people that are doing that long commute to the city, working 9 to 5, sitting on their butt in an office, not much natural light, all looking at screens, and sedentary for 8 hours, and then they're sedentary for another hour to commute back home, and then they're sedentary after they walk around the kitchen a little bit, making a big meal for themselves so they can sit in front of Netflix and chill. Not that kind of Netflix, actually Netflix and sitting down, and until they go to bed after they've watched the screen for a couple of hours, and then they try and sleep and they don't get an effective sleep, and then all their serotonin and melatonin levels are out, their cortisol levels are up because of coffee. It's water now. What can we do about that?
Look, I know, and that's the thing. I mean, it's so hard, and that's why I guess the whole ketosis style suits so many of those people. Because when you're in that sedentary state, it's easier to fast and have more of that high fat diet, and so that helps those people. But obviously you can't be healthy without exercising, and you have to do resistance training to maintain your muscle mass and all of those things. So that's why so many of these problems are lifestyle diseases. Because it's not that you require medication or anything, you just need to change the way you're living because it's so unhealthy, that style of living. So we just need to find ways to be more active and to include all of those things, increase, resistance training, high intensity training, and so forth. But I mean, I always recommend people getting body scanning done to look at their body composition.
And what you're made of.
Yes, because otherwise they jump on the scales and you get this number.
One number.
It does not reflect what's happening. Someone that is 60 kilos could still be metabolically obese, and someone else that is 60 kilos could be really lean and have heaps of muscle. You know what I'm saying? So, and often what happens is they'll try the diet, they'll do all this stuff, and they'll be weighing themselves at home, and then they get so discouraged when the number isn't changing. But what could be happening is that body composition is so that changing. They might have gained that muscle, they might have lost the fat, but it looks like the same number on the scales. So that's why, it would be best if everyone really had the opportunity to do body scanning.
And I hear that so much because for my personal journey through the fitness industry, through the early 2000s and in the 80s even, we were all focused on that one number, and that's when high sugar diets, low fat, everything like that, like the heart tick and all of that came through as to how to fight this obesity epidemic that was starting, back in the 80s. But that was from the 50s when we started the high fructose corn syrup and the fast food. So as we've transitioned through these diets and these ways of living and these lifestyle things, I hit the group fitness leading in the early 2000s, and we all just focused on that one number. There was this one number that defined us, and that was your weight. So cardio was king, cardio for hours on end, or high intensity interval cardio was another great thing. And resistance training sort of wasn't really brought to the front till probably 10 years ago or so. Well, in my mind, and I think teaching body pump has been the key thing for me.
Yeah.
In keeping that healthy body composition.
Yeah.
But I still focused on that number until a year or so ago when I jumped on a composition scanning machine and went, there's 40 different parameters that I can look at to see what is happening to my body. That makes it more a picture rather than just one number to define yourself with. And yeah, so looking at your muscle mass as a ratio to body fat can give you a huge picture of how your body's coping with what you're putting in it, what you're doing for exercise. It is amazing.
And seeing that visceral fat too.
Yeah.
Seeing that number and the bone density and
how that correlates.
Yeah.
So can you tell us how that correlates, the visceral fat and bone density?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess when people, again, their training style, to me, it comes back to that. If people are sedentary and stressed, then they're going to have a higher amount of visceral fat and a lower bone density.
Yes.
Because if you're stressed, then you tend to store that visceral fat more.
Yeah.
And then if you're sedentary, then you're not stimulating that bone regeneration all the time.
Yeah.
And so that is the biggest correlation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we're living these sedentary stress lifestyles, and that's what people end up, and that's why we have such high rates of osteoporosis and all of those problems, and then all of those other, lifestyle related diseases. Yeah.
Well, I know we could talk about this forever.
Yes.
We literally have been talking for an hour before we thought, oh, might as well just jump on and share. But anyway, so we've all got things to do and people to see. But Sarah, that's so amazing. We should come back again.
Do part two.
Yeah. So, but anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and if you want to share, like the videos, Sarah and I will probably come back together here and there. Sarah's got her own YouTube channel, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm starting to build up some videos.
And so we'll share this out on our Facebook, YouTube, all that sort of stuff. So follow Sarah. She's Bouncing Soul, Elevate Yourself now. Yeah, we've just rebranded that. And my body analysis for body composition scanning. It's on my cart, see? But anyway, thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Subscribe, like, share, whatever you want to do. We will take it all. Thank you. See ya.